don't think you're lost. I think you're leveling up, and it just feels like you're lost. Back in 2011, I was in my mid-20s, and I was not a kid anymore, but I wasn't really grown yet either. I was married, I had a child, I had been working for a while, and my life was changing. Everything was changing. I had started to expand in my consciousness. I was maturing. Just life was doing what life does, and I was changing. I was growing. I was evolving. So I would show up with old friends and old situations and around old family members, and it just wasn't resonating with me anymore. I remember going out to dinner with friends, and they were talking about things that felt really draining to my soul. It felt gross. I started to feel physically sick to my stomach because they were talking about other people, and specifically other people that we considered ourselves friends with, but weren't there. And that had been my life up to that point. That was normal for me to, that's just what we did. We're all friends, but we get annoyed with each other and we just chit chat, when one person's not there. And something about this transition of my life where the growth snuck up on me, and when you show up in the same environment, but you have changed, the energy is different. My job was different. The way I showed up with my family was different. The things that I was interested in was different. And I was trying to put myself back into the places that were familiar, but I just didn't feel right. It felt off. And ultimately, I fell into a big, deep pit of depression. And I felt so lost. I felt like I'm never going to get back from here. I don't even know who I am anymore. I remember I was always a really happy, optimistic person. And at the time, I was very much into church and really into my religion at the time. And I remember that version of me talking to God and saying, but I'm a happy person and I don't feel happy. I'm a happy person and I don't feel happy. And I felt like I heard God say to me, but who are you if you're not happy? Who are you then? And it spiraled me even more into, well, I don't know. It was like I was clinging to this thing, this part of my identity, this label that I am a happy person and I'm expected to be happy and I want to be happy and I want to feel happy. And I couldn't answer that question. Well, who am I if I'm not happy? My friendship started to change. I couldn't show up in those spaces with them anymore. And to be honest, they didn't even want to hang out with me anymore. I wasn't getting the invites to hang out, and there was a lot of grief there because I wanted them, but I didn't want those situations anymore. And I was really new at setting boundaries and understanding what that meant. I remember a friend said to me one time, have you ever read the book Boundaries? And I don't read books. So I was like, absolutely not. And she said, you should read it, which I did, by the way. And she gave me this visual. She said, imagine that you're in your yard and you have a fence and you leave the gate open and people come into your yard at inappropriate times. So maybe you were having a barbecue and people came into your yard because you invited them in there, and they're now in your yard and they're hanging out and you don't think anything about it. But when it's 9:00 at night and you are trying to wind down for bed and people are outside partying with red Solo cups on your front yard, did you ask them to be there? Do you want them there? Is that appropriate for that time in your life at your house? And I'm like, no, that wouldn't be appropriate. She said, what Boundaries does is it opens the gates up when you're ready to have people over for the barbecue. At the time, you're ready to have them over at the barbecue. And it also shuts the gate and pushes people out of your yard when it's time for you to start your nighttime routine, or you just want to be alone, or you just want to hang out in your yard by yourself. It's the fence that you put up that people get to come in when you open, and people cannot come in when you shut. If you look at your life right now and you think about, I have people in my yard all the time that I actually wouldn't have them in my yard if it were up to me. People are throwing trash in my yard all the time, and I don't like that. I don't want people throwing the red Solo cups in my yard. Well, it's not their choice. I mean, they're just doing what you have allowed them to do. So what Boundaries does is it sets up the fence so that you know how to properly operate your gate of when it's open and when it's closed. And I remember thinking about that and thinking, gosh, people are partying in my yard all day long. I'm saying yes to things I don't want to say yes to. I'm in environments I don't want to be in. I'm biting my tongue instead of saying what I really want to say, if I can even think of what I even want to say, because I don't like confrontation. And I picked up the book Boundaries and I read it, and I remember it changed my life. And the concept of boundaries seemed, powerful, cool, awesome. But when I had to apply them for the first time, so sick to my stomach. But I did start applying those boundaries. And when I did, more people opted out. They didn't want to adhere to my boundary. And if you can't adhere to my boundary, then you're opting out of the relationship and our time together, because I don't want this anymore. And that is deep, deep rooted when you're 25 years old. That is so deep rooted. And, or whatever age you are, if you've not practiced healthy boundaries, it feels like death and it's awful. So, that spiraled me even more into this place where I just felt very lost. I wanted to make new friends. I remember thinking, if I could get around women who are growing and who are for each other and positive and uplifting and doing things that I want to and aspire to be doing, those are the circles I want to get in. But let me tell you something, as far as my own experience, just because I wanted to leave this one lower level thinking group, and part of it is that they left me because I was changing, I didn't get to just go into this other place with these women that I aspired to be like. I didn't belong there yet. And I didn't have the character to uphold those types of relationships yet. So it left me in a gap, in an in-between. And the in-between is a terrible place to be when you're in it. But in hindsight, any in-between I've ever been in my life, I am like, that is where the transformation happened. When I was alone, when there was no one to save me. It's not like I could jump from one brick to the next brick and just be accepted and received by the new group. It was that in between, that valley, that place alone, where I lost everything, where I feel like I couldn't make it out alive. It's where everything burns down. The ashes is all that's remaining. And then you rise up out of there. So I wanted to tell you that story today. I want to talk to you for a minute, because if you are feeling lost and you're in an in-between and you feel like you're doing the work, I am doing the work, I'm doing the things, I'm showing up, I'm alone, I'm journaling, I'm doing all the things I need to do, and you feel like you're not being able to break through to the other side, I want to encourage you to hang on. Hang on. This is a crucial moment for you, and you will come out of here. Life ebbs and flows. There are ups and downs. And if you're in a valley right now, you're past the turmoil of people harming you psychologically, emotionally, physically, and you're in this place of just loneliness and questioning if it's you, if you are too much, if you have not done the right things to hold on to relationships. That's just those old neurons, those old brain waves pulling you back to the familiar, because what's to come is unknown, and unknown is scary. And our brains want to protect us from that. But I want to encourage you that you're not lost. You're not lost at all. You are in a transformative moment. This is the moment right here for you. Hang in there. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep reflecting on yourself. Keep journaling. Keep talking to your therapist, your coach, whoever you've got in your life, and continue to seek out places where you want to be. If you're in a stage right now where you're like, I can go into these new environments and be around the people that I think I want to be with, get yourself there with no expectation. Just put yourself in the room with those people for the sake of the frequency, the conversations, seeing how they operate, and seeing if that still resonates with you. But you're not lost. You're in the transformation moment. You're leveling up. I promise. It gets better.